writing hack is to ask direct questions. There are actually two kinds of questions: indirect questions and direct questions. An indirect question is presented as a statement, not as an interrogative. For example, I wonder whether Gareth will make the meeting on time. And when I say it out loud, you can hear that my intonation is just flat. My voice doesn't go up at the end of the sentence as it does if I were asking a direct question. Here's another indirect question. I'd like to know whether the attached marketing plan meets with your approval. When you put something like this in an email, for instance, you have kind of implied a question, but you have not stated it to the person in a way that you activate their kind of automatic reaction to make a response. A statement is something that we can just take or leave, and chances are that your readers, who tend to be very busy and don't want to go to any work if they don't have to, will just leave it. Let's look at the difference when we ask a direct question. So a direct question would be something like this. Will Gareth make the meeting on time? Okay, so you hear my voice go up at the end. That's the audio signal. On the page, we have that question mark that actually draws our eye because it's a special graphical symbol that doesn't appear too often. And that direct question actually invites that kind of automatic response. Oh, we better answer that. Does the attached marketing plan meet with your approval? So now the person kind of has to come back and say yes, no, or maybe. Or if you want to say something a little bit more informally, which I often do, does the attached marketing plan look okay to you? And often when I'm writing an email and I'm trying to figure out what response I want from the person, I often think, what would I say to them if I were in person? And that sometimes helps me find that more natural kind of question, as the second one is here. The moral of the story then is, if you want to know something, ask, but make sure you ask directly. Now, the other thing you want to think about when you're asking your questions in an email is you want to think about the most prominent places to put your question. And so here are some places where your question will really stand out. In the introduction, sometimes I will use a question actually in the introduction to an email so that the reader knows, oh, there's a reason I should keep reading. Dawn has a question she needs an answer to. If you put a question all by itself in a one-sentence paragraph, that visually stands out and grabs the eye. Sometimes I even do that and put some boldface in there too, so it's really unmissable. At the end of a paragraph is another place where a question stands out because we see that graphic of the question mark at the very tail end. And finally, at the end of a message. That's a great place to put a question as well. Most people, as you know, do not read their emails, they skim them. And so what do we do when we skim? We look really quickly at the top and we look down at the bottom to see what action is required. So that's why it's so important to have that direct question mark at the end, because if people just see a statement there, they might just file it to the bottom of their inbox. Whereas that question mark grabs the attention and lets the reader know, hey, I need something from you. So be sure that you don't leave your reader guessing about what it is that you want to know. Ask if you want to know, and make sure you ask directly and conversationally so you'll get the reply that you want.